All right, let's talk about Andy Reid addressing Tyreek Hill rift rumors, Orlando Brown Jr.'s contract estimation, some interesting Derek Carr news, Jimmy Garoppolo's trade status, and much more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL overall, so make sure to sub. If you're new around here, hit that like button and check the description for timestamps and articles, and let's get into it. First off, our new safety, Deon Bush, keeps up with his seemingly daily stream of funny tweets, and since it mentions Kansas City barbecue, I must include it today. Well, apparently he messed up pretty bad. He actually said this Kansas barbecue is pretty good, and people were flooding his inbox, correcting him. Yes, we are very particular on the subject of barbecue, I must admit. I just wish I could find which barbecue joint he went and tried. Anyway, I think he learned his lesson and won't commit such a great of a Kansas City sin ever again. So yeah, you can't say this is good Kansas barbecue. You have to add Kansas City unless he was specifically on the Kansas side, which I'm not sure that he was. Either way, I shared this little story to say this. I'm very happy to be talking about a Chiefs safety regarding Twitter in such a positive, fun way, especially compared to some past things that I've covered from our previous safety. But speaking of Tyrann Mathieu, and this is a positive story here, he recently visited LSU, his old stomping grounds, to catch up with old staffers, friends, and meet the new LSU head coach, Brian Kelly. An article on the subject says this: other than maybe Joe Burrow, it's hard to think of a more influential, memorable player to suit up for the LSU Tigers in recent history. And when the new defensive coordinator, which is Matt House, the Chiefs' former linebackers coach, says in his opening press conference, guys like the Honey Badger and Clyde Edwards-Helaire played a role in him taking the gig, it's so huge to see the NFL superstar find time to come back. So yeah, I know Tyrann more than likely isn't coming back to KC next season, but for now and forever to me personally, he will always be a Kansas City Chief, so had to share that story. And then yesterday was NFL's First Lady Norma Hunt's birthday. She either turned 35 or 36 this year, I can't remember which, but it's worth giving a shout out to one of the owners of the Chiefs. And listen to this, she's been to every single Super Bowl in history. I mean, how crazy is that? She saw the Chiefs' first Super Bowl appearance and then saw us win back in 2019, and that stat was too wild not to share it with you all. So happy birthday, Norma. And then I want to share about an article that came out with an estimate of Orlando Brown Jr.'s contract that's in the works currently. And in case you forgot how he ended up on the Chiefs in the first place, Brown requested out of Baltimore last season, seeking an opportunity at left tackle, a position his father, the late NFL veteran Orlando Brown, raised him to play. With the Ravens having handed former Pro Bowler Ronnie Stanley a significant extension in 2020 to man that spot for them, they shipped Brown to the Chiefs last April for a package that included a first and third round pick. Anyway, the author of this article, Anthony Halsman Escarino, says this about his contract extension. Brown is a good young left tackle, and ensuring the protection of Mahomes under contract through the 2031 season would seem to be a priority in Kansas City. If Brown is willing, I could see the Chiefs attempting to sign him to a contract in line with that of Trent Williams in terms of length. Brown's situation recalls that of Tunzel, who reset the market at 25 years old with the deal he was given by the Texans before being surpassed by two veterans, David Bakhtiari, 29 when he signed that pact with Green Bay, and then Williams, 32 when he signed with San Francisco. So yeah, his contract estimate is, drumroll, 6 years, $145 million, $24 million APY with $65 million fully guaranteed. That's a lot of money, but we need to protect the blind side of our other very expensive player, franchise quarterback Patrick Mahomes. And my question to you guys is, could that have played a role in why Tyreek Hill ended up getting traded when he was wanting more money? Mahomes is expensive. You've got Travis Kelce under contract, Chris Jones under a bigger contract, Joe Tooney. Then, you're going to have Orlando Brown Jr. So let me know in the comments down below if you think this played a role with Tyreek Hill getting traded. And speaking of Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid recently spoke out publicly for the first time since the Tyreek Hill trade happened at the 2022 annual league meeting. He said this: "We came in aggressive with a contract offer, and after we got to a point, we just said, listen, in this day and age, you have issues you have to deal with the cap. So we felt like it was better to allow him to go ahead and be traded. You can go different routes with the player in regards to this situation. You could play hardball, or you can go about it the way we did, or I did. I love Tyreek Hill," Reid said Monday via ESPN's Adam Teicher. "There's no rift between Tyreek Hill and myself. I thought he deserved an opportunity if that's where he wanted to go. He's a family man that has a few kids, and he's got to be able to support them now and down the road as well. And this gives him an opportunity to do that, and at the same time, it gives us great compensation." So yeah, we know from there, Hill was traded for 5 draft picks, 3 in 2022 and 2 in 2023, and in return, he got an extension worth 4 years, $120 million with the Miami Dolphins. Had we signed Tyreek Hill to a deal of that magnitude, it would have left us extremely strapped for cap space. And speaking of cap space, Andy Reid had this to say about it: "You've got to be able to manage that the right way," Reid said about the Chiefs' salary cap situation. "If you're paying all your money to a quarterback and you can't surround him with players, that can be a problem. So you have to find a way with a Tyreek Hill maybe that you have to get rid of so you can replenish. That's offense and defense. I'm not just talking about the offensive side." But on the subject of offense, he spoke about Mahomes and the importance of surrounding him with players to help him succeed. "You want to surround him with great players," Reid responded when asked about the trade and how it will affect quarterback Patrick Mahomes. "We did try to sign Tyreek at a certain cost. Once it gets past that, now you can see what we're doing here with the players we brought in, and we feel they're very good football players. So we'll see. I mean, the end result is going to be what takes place during the season, but Brett's building this thing back to where we feel comfortable that we can go out and win on Sundays." So what are your guys' thoughts on what Andy Reid just said there? Let me know in the comments down below. I do think, as much as the Hill trade hurts, it's probably the best thing for the Chiefs' future. Time will tell in a couple years, as Andy Reid said. In other NFL news, Giants co-owner John Mara recently said that the Giants are, quote, "not shopping Saquon," but said Joe's the general manager, and if he and the head coach want to make a personnel decision and have a conviction about it, I'm not going to interfere with it. But that's not something we're actively looking to do, let's put it that way. And then you can see Bill Belichick seen welcoming Mike McDaniel into the division. That shirt of his is very colorful. Nice. And Belichick was asked in an interview who will call plays for the Patriot on offense, and his answer was very Belichick-like. "We're not calling any for a while," as it's the offseason. His answers are pure gold half the time. And then longtime Jaguars center Brandon Linder announced his retirement. The Lions will be featured on this summer's Hard Knocks on HBO. The 5-episode season debuts Tuesday, August 9th, with additional hour-long episodes debuting subsequent Tuesdays at the same time, culminating in the September 6th season finale. And also, Raiders head coach Josh McDaniel said that the Raiders are trying to build around quarterback Derek Carr, and he hopes the two sides will find a sweet spot in talks on a contract extension. "Derek's going to have to make decisions about what's best for him, and we have to try to do what's right for the team," McDaniel said. Well, about 30 minutes later on Twitter, Carr's agent actually replied to this statement. And he said this: "Clubs always do what is best for the team in every situation. Players, even QBs, don't expect teams to do what is best for the player. Successful negotiations always end in a sweet spot. That said, our practice is not going to comment publicly regarding ongoing negotiations." And I found that answer interesting, considering he said we don't comment publicly on ongoing negotiations. Well, he commented publicly on an ongoing negotiation. So that was kind of funny to me. But it looks like Carr could earn close to $40 million per season, the going rate for QBs after Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford recently signed deals in that range. Carr has a current base salary of about $20 million with no guaranteed money left on his deal. And then it's worth noting that the NFL draft is 1 month away. The Chiefs and Jaguars have the most picks at 12. The Dolphins and Raiders have the fewest picks at 5. The Eagles have the most first-round picks with 3. And the Jets have the most top 50 picks at 4. And the Rams have the fewest top 100 picks at 0. We know that they've been trading away draft picks, like I traded Pokemon cards at recess in elementary school. No real news there. But speaking of the draft, if you didn't know, though the draft site for 2023 will actually be in Kansas City, which is pretty dope. And in 2024, it's been awarded to Detroit. And then huge news for Bills fans. The team is signing a 30-year lease, longest in team history, to play in a new $1.4 billion, with a B, very football-specific Orchard Park Stadium starting tentatively in 2026. So a couple decades of uncertainty are coming to an end. And then there seems to be no trades forming for QB Baker Mayfield or 49ers QB Jimmy Garoppolo. Interesting to note there for both of them. 49ers GM John Lynch recently was asked if he plans to release Jimmy G outright if no trade forms. I don't foresee that, Lynch said via ESPN. He's too good a player. I think Jimmy will be playing for us or will be playing for someone else. He's too good of a player not to be. Following the Niners playoff exit, the presumption was San Francisco would trade Garoppolo to a QB-needy club and move forward with first-round pick Trey Lance as its quarterback. But since then, Garoppolo underwent shoulder surgery that will keep him from throwing until close to training camp. Well, that helped slow his market early in the process, and since then, many openings have been filled. GM John Lynch said, ultimately, the teams that we were closest with, the surgery gave them pause, and they ended up going in other directions. So, if he's not going to cut Garoppolo and a trade doesn't materialize soon, Lynch basically has two options. One, keep the QB at the $25.5 million salary, with the possibility that an injury closer to the season could open the door to a contending team scrambling for a QB, or two, rework his current deal to keep him on the club at a lesser figure. The dynamics in San Francisco would be interesting if the Niners hang on to Garoppolo, particularly at his inflated salary. It could undercut any process Lance was set to make as the alpha and clear starter, or it could build competition for the young QB while providing the coaching staff a fallback option it trusts. So yeah, certainly interesting. What are your thoughts on there with them keeping Garoppolo around while Trey Lance is probably going to be the starter? That would be sort of equivalent to the Chiefs starting Mahomes and then Alex Smith being the backup. That's crazy to me. But yeah, the shoulder surgery has certainly thrown a wrench in the trade talks. So much going on, but I'm having a blast covering it for you all. That's going to do it for today's news. Make sure to sub for more daily news like this and check out this video here from the previous day's news in case you missed it. So until next time, let's go. How about those